Hello everybody, it's Ayo from AOKane again, and today we are going to be continuing with our 2D top-down tutorial. So since last week we went over a bunch of coding stuff relating making our player move and having our enemy follow it, and then our enemy knocking us back when we get hit. Since we covered all of this coding and complex mumbo-jumbo last week, we are going to be focusing mainly on the art side of things this week, just as a little bit of a break. And then next week we'll continue on with coding and probably continue with that pattern. So starting off, I went to Itch and I found an asset pack that I liked, and for today we're going to use the Mystic Woods asset pack. We're going to take the floor, the player, and probably this little slime guy, and we'll just start with that, and recommend downloading this if you want to follow along with the same assets. Otherwise you can browse Itch for some other pixel art assets or normal assets or whatever you want to work on. Yeah, but with that said, I took it out of the zip folder and I took the sprite sheets that we're going to use, which is the slime, the player, fences, planes, and the walls. And all you gotta do, sorry, I had to cough. All you gotta do to get it into Unity is highlight right here. Let me put them in an easier spot to get to. You just highlight them and drag them in, and then bing bang boom, they're all in Unity. And since we made this handy art folder last week, I'm going to drag it into there. And from there, we are good to get started. So I am going to start by giving our player a new sprite and replacing this circle, because no one wants to look at a green circle anymore. So to do that, we are going to go click on our player sprite sheet. And since it's multiple sprites, we're going to change our sprite mode to multiple. And pixel units in this pack, it is 16 by 16. If you're using a different asset pack, it's generally either 16, 16, 32, 32, 64, 64. It'll probably say on whatever pack you downloaded it, but you'll put that number into pixel per unit here. And then we're going to change our compression type to none and our filter mode to point no filter, because that what that does is it compresses our art down and it makes it not look as great, but changing this stops it from doing that compression. So then I'm going to open the sprite editor from hitting this button, and that brings up this window, and that gives us all of these cute little player individual sprites. And for today, we'll probably just grab like this one or something. But for future reference, I'm just going to hit slice, automatic, and slice. Sometimes the automatic slice will mess some stuff up, so make sure to just zoom in and check all of the pixels and make sure they're all inside these boxes here. And if it all looks good, which I think it does, we can just hit apply. And that will give us a bunch of different player sprites. And I can X out here, and if you hit the arrow on the player, you'll see all the individual sprites here. And that looks like a lot, but it'll make sense, because player 0 through 5 is just the forward-facing idle animation. And if we have time, we'll cover some animation today. If not, that's perfectly fine too. But all I'm going to do is grab, which one did I say? I think I said player 6. So I'm going to go to our player. I'm going to click on circle, because our circle is what has our sprite renderer. And I'm just going to drag in player 6. And since I changed my color last week to this green, it's going to look a little funky. But as soon as I drag it back to normal, you'll see that it looks okay. So if I hit play again, you'll see that we have a moving character, but obviously it's not going to look fantastic because we haven't set up any of our animations or anything like that, but this gives us a little bit of a start. And with that, we can also give our slime a little bit of art here. So I'm going to go through that same process again, change this to our sprite unit, change it to multiple, none, point, apply. Open our sprite editor, and I have a feeling that our automatic slice isn't going to work the greatest here, just because these three are kind of separated out, so it probably won't slice it perfectly. And if I hit it automatic, yeah, so you can see it didn't separate perfectly. And to fix that, I'm just going to delete these two boxes, and I'm going to resize it manually to fit all of that goop in there from our slimy guy. And going on, I can do this one as well. Shouldn't take too long, it's just a little bit of editing here. And with all of that done, oh, you can see it didn't take our shadows either, so we can drag this down. And this one as well. And all I'm doing is I'm clicking on it, hitting delete, clicking on the other box, and clicking on any of these blue lines and dragging it. Because if you hit this green part right here, it's just going to change the border of your sprite. It's not going to resize your sprite, so don't do that. And with all of that, I think it's grabbing it all right, so we can hit apply. And you can see it grabbed all of our slime sprites. And from there, we can go to the circle of our follow enemy. And I'm just going to throw, what's a goofy looking one? Let's grab, I think I like this one. Actually, I'll just go with Slime Zero. And then since I had my color to magenta from last time, it's going to look a little silly, but there we go. And we have our slime and our player, but obviously it's not looking quite right. It looks a little bit more appealing now that we have, a little bit of visuals to it, but obviously not perfect. From there, with just our player and our slime, we can add a little bit of background work. So I'm just gonna drag this guy up over to here, and actually I think I'll just set him to 0, 0, and I'll set our slime to like 0, 2 or something. And I'm gonna turn on our handy dandy, let's see, which one is this? Grid snapping? Yeah, there we go. So this is just gonna snap our characters to whole values and make our moving it a little bit cleaner. Obviously not perfect, but that's all right. And then from here, oh sorry, I had an itch on my face. I didn't mean to block the mic there. From here, we can right click over here, and I'm gonna make a 2D object. I'm gonna make a tile map and a rectangular tile map. And to see our tile map, I'm gonna turn on the grid, and that's gonna bring up these bunch of rectangles here. And that's just by turning on the gizmos. And I'm gonna name this our background grid. And name this tile map our background, because we'll have a foreground tile map as well that we'll layer on our walls and our fences on. But with those two done, we can go to planes, and we're going to want to grab all of our plane sprites as well. And for our planes, it's going to be a little bit different, but we're going to do multiple, 16 point, and none, same setting as the other one, but in the sprite editor. Since you can see all of the sprites are touching, if we did slice automatic, it's just going to grab all one big sprite, and that's not what we want. So instead, we're going to do slice grid by cell size, and since our pixel units are 16 by 16, that'll separate it into each of our individual columns here. And with that done, we can hit slice, and if this is all looking the way you want it to, for me I think it is, you can hit apply, and that's just going to slice all of our different tiles apart, which is what we want. And from there, you can see it grabbed all of our different tiles, And I'm going to make a new folder before we continue. And I'm going to name it Tile Palette. I don't know if it's an E at the end or not. I'll do an E at the end because it looks more French. I don't know. And then inside of Tile Palette, I'm going to make another folder, and I'm going to name that Tiles. And from there, we can click back onto our grid, and I'm going to go into Window, 2D, Tile Palette, and this is going to open up this window here. And to make our lives a little bit easier, I'm going to drag it into the inspector, and all I did there is click on this top icon and dragged it to the right of the inspector, and this is just going to dock it over here and make it a little bit easier to work with. So right now it'll say we have no valid tile palette, so we're going to create a new palette, and we'll name it background and hit create, and we'll put that in our tile palette folder. And then continuing from there, we can just go here and select all of our planes tiles that we made. And I just did that by clicking the first one, shift, and clicking the last one. And you'll drag it in here. And we will put all of these into our tiles folder. And I'll hit select. And that is going to make a little bit of a jumbled mess over here. And we'll see if that organized it the way we wanted it to. And it did. Perfect. From there, I'll do a quick demonstration here. We can just click on the palette we want, any of them, and you just paint it in there. And it becomes like a little paint palette over here. But before that, I am just going to, let's see. No, not that one. That one. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to move the palette around a little bit until it makes more sense to me. So I can duplicate that one over here. I can grab you. Oh my goodness. We'll click it. I'm trying to move it here. I don't think it likes that very much. I'll just do it the way I know how. Oh goodness, it exited to editing mode. Actually, never mind. We'll just do this another time since it's being rude to me. But I can just grab one I like, and we'll grab this piece, and we'll make a little bit of a border here. And if it's a good tile set, all of the pieces should line up pretty nicely here. All I was trying to do earlier is organize it a little bit so the pieces line up, but I'll probably do that in a sec and I'll just cut it out. But all you have to do is hit edit and then one of these options up here, and you can just click and move them around, but it's being a little fussy right now, so I don't want to bother. And then I'm going to use fill, and that gives us a nice background to work with. And you can see that it's looking a little bit more game-like. Oh goodness. I think I... Fall enemy, yes. So my character sprite isn't on center with the player anymore. There we go. There we go. And that looks like it's behaving the way it should. But with all of that set up, we have a basic background. And you can get as artistic as you want with all of this jazz, and we'll make it a bit fancier probably next time. But today I'm just setting up the basics with that. And since we have our background done with this little bit, and I just changed it the size of the camera for now, we're gonna have our camera follow the player. We'll probably make that happen next video. And once we get that set up, we'll make probably a script that makes the terrain generate as we walk, like in a Minecraft fashion. So you walk to like this border and it'll generate a new chunk for you. That way it's an infinite gameplay type of thing. And we'll probably use a bunch of these slime guys and we'll spawn them in and have them run towards the player, and it'll be like Vampire Survivors, survive as long as you can type of thing. Or at least that's what I'm guessing. If I change my mind by next video, we could just do something cool like a level based RPG thing or something. But yeah, anyway, with that aside, we can continue forward, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new on our grid. I am going to right click and I'm going to create a 2D tile map, rectangular, and that's just going to make another tile map for us. And I'm going to name this let's name it objects. And what this is going to do is it's going to make another tile map, and this one right now is ordered in order 0, and I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but our player right now is in order 2, so he'll always be in front of the background, and so will our enemy. But I always like putting my backgrounds at -1 just so they're for sure in the background, and then this is going to be at 0, so it's on top of our background but not in front of anything else, so just leaving it at 0. And with that, I think this is where I'm going to use the fences. We might not touch the walls today, to be honest, but I'm going to grab the fences and we'll click multiple, 16 point none, and hit apply. And then you can go to sprite editor, and sorry about that whistle, by the way. We can just do the same thing we did for the planes, which is slice, grid by cell size, and then 16 by 16, and hit slice, and then we can hit apply. And this is going to give us all of our fences that we need to work with. From there, we can do the same thing we did with our tile palette last time. So this is our background tile palette, but we're going to want to create a new palette, and I'm going to name this objects because that's the layer it's going to go on. And I'm going to hit create, and I'll put it in our tile palette folder, and then I'm going to drag all of our fences in here, and I'm going to put it in our tiles folder, and I already popped that up automatically for me. And we can hit our objects, and we can do the same thing we had last time. So I'm just going to use this to make a small fence here. I think, yeah, do something like that, and then we could do, oh, I don't know, like a little box over here. And this is kind of just me trying to demonstrate how the tile palette works, how the tile, what's it called? Tile map works. Because we will be working with that a lot in the future. And I think, actually, instead of those bottom pieces, I want to use these ones, because then we have, you know, a little bit in and whatever. Just making a couple cute patterns. I selected both there. That's my bad. And just grabbing from, you know, whatever one I think fits best in the place. And, yeah, actually get rid of one there. And I think this is just fine for what I want to demonstrate this time. And I'll go back to my move tool here. And you'll see with that, right now we can just walk through our fences, and that's not necessarily what we want, since we have, you know, a player shouldn't be able to just, you know, shimmy through that. And all I got to do to fix that is I'm going to go to objects, and I'm going to add component, and it is going to be a collider, and it's going to be a tile map collider 2D. Let's see here. And what that's going to do is it's just going to add some colliders to our fences. And you can see it's kind of looking a little funny right now. But you'll see that our player can't really move through them anymore. But right now, I think our enemy is set to move through them. Yeah. So we'll have to change around his settings a little bit, and we'll probably do that next video. But you'll see, like, if I'll get stuck in here because, you know, the collider from there doesn't let my player collider move through it. And I think my enemy kind of got me stuck here, so I'm going to move him over here. And because I was just getting bonked into the fence over and over. So if it does that, obviously it's going to, you know, get me stuck. But click off of him. And, you know, this just gives us a very basic map setup. And since we have the time, I suppose I can do a little bit of animation. We'll probably just give the player or the slime an idle animation. We'll not go over any of the directional animations because we'll have to do a little bit of coding for that. And I kind of wanted to stay away from that this video, but just giving us a little introduction on what we're going to use to make our game look pretty. So if we want to animate our player, I'm going to click on the circle, and I'm actually going to rename this to player sprite because that's what it's going to be. I'm also going to rename this to enemy sprite while we're at it. Also, let me know if there's like a big difference in quality. I'm doing the audio recording at the same time that I'm doing the video recording, kind of just to see if I like this flow better than the voiceover, because voiceovering things adds like another 40 minutes, and then I have to edit all that, and it's a lot of work, and I didn't know that. But anyway, back to animating the idle for the player. So we already separated our player sprites, and we're just going to do sprite 6 through 11 over here, and we'll see how those line up, and we'll see if that's what we want, because I think it's just an idle. That's what it looks like. But to animate something, we'll hit add component, and we're going to need an animator. And from there, we can right click on sprite 6 to sprite 11, and I'm just going to drag it onto our player sprite. And this is going to pop up with a whole new thing. So I'm going to go to our assets folder, and I'm going to name this animation player side idle. And what that's going to do is it's going to change our animator, and it's going to autofill it with a controller, and that's what this is going to be. And it's going to be player sprite, which is our animated controller, and then that's going to give us a player side idle. And what this is going to do is when we hit play, it's just going to play this really basic idle animation. And I think I did it again. I keep forgetting to move the player object and the player sprite back onto each other, but that's okay. But very easy process to get a little animation done. And for now, I'm gonna deactivate our follow enemy just so we can mess with that animation a little bit. So right now, to me at least, it looks very, very quick. I'm gonna turn off the gizmos up here too. It looks very, very quick. And how we can fix that is we can open up our, let's see, mine opened up very large. We can open up our animator, and all this is going to have is our different sprites. And right now I think I want it to probably go about half that speed, so I can grab these, and that's just by shift clicking all of them and dragging them one to the left. And I'm just going to do that for all of them. Just to double the current animation time, because like I said, it feels very, very quick right now, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. And that's not the animator's fault, like the person who made the asset pack's fault. That's just the default Unity speed, and I feel like that looks like a lot better of a speed. And I think, yeah. So now we've got a pretty decent idle animation on our player, so he'll just breathe in, breathe out while we chill out. And next week we'll code in, like, when we move to the left, we'll give him his left look, and we'll make him look right when we're moving right, and up and down and all that. And that's why I chose this asset pack in particular, because it has a 4-direction player animation, so we can make it look like he's going each way. We'll also give him a cute death animation, because I think that looks adorable. But I don't think there's too much else we can cover. We can also grab our slime enemy here, and we can give him an animation the exact same way. So I'm just going to add an animator, and I'm going to grab, let's see, does he have a slime idol? It looks like, that looks like a whole big jump to me. I don't know if there is an idol. We could just have them alternate between these two and do our own little thing really quick, and that shouldn't be too hard. So all we're gonna do is select, I think I'm gonna do these 3 actually. I'm gonna select these 3. I'm gonna drag it over to our enemy sprite. I think it registered. I'm gonna drag it to our enemy sprite. There we go. And I'm gonna do this in the assets again, and I'm gonna name this slime idle. And that'll just make it so he's always doing this little bob animation. And right now it's, yeah, not what we want at all. He looks very jiggly, and that looks very silly, but you see our player's pretty slow compared to him. So all we're gonna do is pretty much the same thing we did for the player, and we're just gonna open up our enemy, our slime idol, and I'm just gonna see which sprites are playing, and I kinda want it to go down to this one and then back to this one. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Control-C, Control-V that frame, just to move it across, and then I'm gonna do what I did to the other ones, and that's just dragging them over a little bit. Do those look the same? They look very similar. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, Control-C, or not Control-C, Shift and select, and then click off, Shift select, move over, click off, and then move him over, and that gives it much slower animation, which I think is what we're going to aim for here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better to me, but we'll also want to make it so when he's moving to the left, he'll, look to the player rather than always looking to the right, but that's like probably another coding thing. So just as a start, I feel like this is a good spot, because we have our player can't run through our fences. Our slime can, but that's a coding thing, so we'll fix that. Or, I mean, not necessarily a coding thing. We can fix that really quick, actually. So if I go to our follow enemy, right now it has a circle collider 2D, and all we have to do is add another circle collider 2D. We can leave this one as a normal collider, and I think that'll fix it. I think. We'll see. So I was wrong. We can remove that. If I go to enemy sprite and I add a circle collider, this isn't the way I want to fix it permanently, but just a temporary fix. Really? Okay. Oh, I forgot. For our enemy, we're actually not using physics to move it, so we're gonna have to come up with like a whole nother solution to making him stop. Because right now our follow AI isn't checking for colliders. So honestly, we'll probably end up changing our enemy movement in the next video to work around our colliders, and that way it, you know, I mean, it looks like it's colliding with our player, but in reality it's not. It's just knocking it away. But yeah, in the next video we are going to first of all correct this, make our slime stop with the walls, and then we'll probably focus on making our animations line up with our player movement. So making him look left when he's moving left, look right, look up, look down, all that jazz. And then along with that, we'll do the same for the slime. And from there, we'll start doing a little bit of combat stuff. So we'll make it so he can swing his sword, and when he swings his sword, it'll, you know, knock the slime away like the slime is currently doing to us. We'll probably also add like a damage flash, so like when the player gets hit, we'll make his sprite render changes color like that or something. Just a quick oof. You know, the good old Roblox hurt sound or something. But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna call it for today. It's a little bit shorter than the last video, but it was mostly focused on just getting a good introduction to animation with stuff, and this is a very basic application of animation where all it's doing is changing our player sprite and getting our tile map set up so we can collide with our fences, and so we can move around. And obviously our fences aren't perfect, we'll probably work on that some more too. But yeah, with that said, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for next week when we continue the tutorial. Yeah.